Hello, gracefully chosen community, and welcome to Fostered My Stories, an achievement-focused podcast for foster, adoption, and orphan communities. I'm your host, Shalina Michelle Tate. On this castisode, and yes, I said castisode, for today, I wanted to share my interview with community guest Jessica Burton. She has an awesome mentorship program in the community, and I want you to listen in on how she got her start. Let's check it out. If you're us, my name is Shalina Tate. I'm the host here of Fostered My Stories, a podcast that's growing in the community to find a positive outlet for foster, orphaned, and adoption stories. I'm here today with our community guest, Jessica Burton. I'm so excited to have her. I'm going to be asking her some questions, and she's going to fill you in on what she does, who she is, and what God has done in her life. Hi, Jessica.
Hi. How are you?
So good, so good. Okay, well, like I said, I read over your questionnaire. I see that you are a mother of 3 wonderful children, and that your service that you have was birthed from a need that you had for your son. Could you tell the listeners more about what that need was and what struggles faced as a parent trying to get him situated, and then how you transitioned into your service now?
Well, my son was around 13 when he started with his behavioral issues, I'll call it.
Okay.
And I began looking for a mentor in the community. And they had Boys and Girls Club and 100 Black Men and things like that. But
Yeah.
I didn't want a one-on-one because I felt like he was dealing with rejection from his father. And I didn't want someone to come in and end up having to leave for personal reasons or couldn't mentor anymore or things like that.
Yes.
So I started realizing that children listen to their peers way more than they listen to us. So
Yes.
I utilized that, and I said, well, I'm going to start having weekly meetings, and we'll do peer mentoring. And they don't even realize that they're mentoring one another. We have lots of discussions and things like that, which allows them to go in and talk about their habits and their personal things that they're dealing with. And it's just been great. Everything.
That's amazing because for myself, helping out in K-5 schools, and then of course my background is foster care. I grew up in the foster care system, so I definitely have a heart for the underserved and definitely youth that sound like your son, who tend to have they may go to schools, and the schools and from my view sometimes kind of test and then separate and then isolate and medicate, and a lot of times those are not the best solutions. A lot of times needing just that mentorship, like you said, and someone to connect to. I like how God pressed it upon your heart to consider youth their age, because you're right. A lot of times the youth are impressionable from what they see their peers, and especially if, well, with your service, it sounds like they're coming together and they don't know it, that they're mentoring each other, but they're creating a positive atmosphere. Yes, I'm so excited for the expression of that vision. You're right. We need more of that. Further in the questionnaire, I saw where you would look for mentorship for your son, and how am I saying this right? It kind of seemed that maybe the local areas you went to possibly didn't have the time or wasn't as vested. And then there were bigger ones, like you said, was a girls club, but it wasn't as personable as you wanted it to be.
Right. And I wanted something that was going to deal with the whole child, and not just, a lot of times I see people who are doing it for the attention or doing it for other reasons.
Yes.
But I wanted someone who had heart for it. And I know that my heart is there. I know where my heart is. So it's really hard to find people who have a genuine heart and that is really in it for the children.
Yes.
I'm the director of a child care center as well.
Yes.
So I'm looking all the time and seeing the people who have the heart. You know when someone has the heart for what they're doing.
Yes.
Someone is coming up with us. And it was good stuff. And I did have him, I had a couple people come into his life, but like I said, with him dealing with the spirit of rejection, I didn't want him to end up running into somebody and getting attacked and then ending up, having to deal with the rejection again. So that's why I said, well, with the peers, if they come and they go, they know it's not on them as to why the child is leaving. So a lot of children I've realized do deal with the spirit of rejection. We're dealing with that right now, especially with a lot of daddy issues. And we're dealing, that's one of the topics that we're on right now is forgiveness. And I just didn't want anybody to add any more rejection.
Yes. For my listeners who don't know, when we're saying spirit of rejection, as we grow in our individual ambassadorships, as we kind of get that tap on the shoulder from God, to discover who we are in Christ and who He's creating us to be, a lot of times we learn about spiritual warfare. And one of the spiritual warfares that we learn about is the root of rejection, the spirit of rejection, which often stems from childhood, from personal, from just matters that may kind of shake our very foundations. And so when we say spirit of rejection, it's something we learn as we grow. And what Ms. Burton is saying is so right. When, especially when a child has unresolved issues, I could take myself, for example, growing up in the foster care system. I didn't know until my adulthood, when I started my spiritual journey, that the root of rejection stems into so many other things. And then when you finally, I guess, get that nudge and understand it's a God-given nudge, then He opens up the revelation that this is what you're going through. But like you said, having a stirring for change, having the right mentorships and the right people is all tying into what you said in your questionnaire. You had kids come to you, so I guess God was giving you a tap, saying, hey, despite the fact that your son is going through this and you may have gone through X, Y, and Z, I'm going to use you in the very area you feel needs to be addressed, and that is rejection. Yes. I'm excited how just hearing how that's manifesting, and I could tell you have a heart. Just your son wanting to address that. I commend you for wanting to take a different approach, because the go-to tends to be remedial isolation medication. And I'm willing to probably guess the schools try to come at you with that, but you probably didn't want to feeling it. Yeah. it tends to happen that way. Yeah, it tends to happen that way, testing and stuff like that. The next year or so, there's a service, a one-stop that I desire to create for foster care youth, and youth that's similar to your son, kind of give them an alternative to the isolation medication, remedial, because they need best encouragement. But in reading your information, it sounds like you're on that track already. So hopefully in the future we can pair up together and go conquer the world. Because and I get excited. I read how you wish there was more, if opportunity was unlimited and resources were unlimited, desire more children to be helped, and then no issues with transportation and a place they could come, and then have the go-getter mentality to come. So just by you making the steps, I feel, and progressing forward with that, I believe God has just been confirming to you that you're on the right track. I read where you said you was a little discouraged. You started off with 2. You wasn't sure where it was going to go, but it started growing because the children, they acknowledged that doing this from the heart. They knew that, hey, I'm being helped, and they knew it was a safe place to come and get someone who's going to take the time with them. I've seen that firsthand when I was working with K-5 students. I definitely seen that personally as a former foster child, and I've seen that even working Midlands Tech student. Yes. I worked in the Academic Success Center at Midlands Tech, and kind of saw some of the same similar issues where returning students, they kind of felt out of place, and they were kind of made feel, well, why are you coming back? Kind of opened up, and they kind of felt kind of like how your son probably feels. And then I realized, well, there's no difference. It's just a difference in age group. They need somebody that's going to take the time with them as well, encourage them as well, and don't make them feel as if they're, you're different or isolated. So yes, I also want to turn this into a charter school just by being faithful with the few. The few was the 2 that you didn't know how it's going to grow. And He just took that compassion and multiplied it. Once again, for those of you who are joining us, my name is Shalita Tate. This is Foster My Stories. I'm here with Jessica Burton, who is expounding on her mentoring program to help ages 13 to 19-year-olds who may have academic struggles and maybe have been labeled behavior issues. Right now, we're going over how she got started and brought up the root of rejection, which stems a lot of time from childhood and circumstances and situations. And she highlighted how they are currently tackling father issues right now, which a lot of times as a youth, a missing or absent parent kind of plays along with confidence and self-esteem. And so just beaming about how God has used Jessica to actually be a beacon of light for these youth that she's helping, and her desire to expand her territory with other youth. So if you would like more information from Miss Jessica on where to contact her, how to find her, I'm going to let her share how the listeners can reach out for their child.
Well, we just got our website up, so it's www.friendlyatmosphere.org, or you can find us on Facebook at Friendly Atmosphere Mentoring, or on Instagram at Friendly Atmosphere.
Yes, and the acronym is FAM, so that should tell you a lot that this service considers you and your child family. That is the key right now. We need to embrace the youth. We need to let them know that, hey, you may not have come from my home, but you're still family in some form aspect, yes, and that we're here to help as we would help our own family. Jessica, is there any other things within the community not quite associated with your mentorship that you or have a desire to create any other programs or services?
That's funny to say that, because God has been dealing with me a lot about getting young women, like 25 and under, together and teaching them about finances, things like that, just to get them ready for the real world and get them to a place of investing and just getting their life together, just learning to travel and things like that.
Yes.
So I do a lot with that, and I want to do a retreat as well for women, so learning to love yourself. So,
yes.
Hopefully that'll be coming up sooner than later.
Touch and agree with you on that, because that sounds phenomenal. That's dynamic. You said a key word right there, finances, and just kind of building their self-esteem, their confidence, and really embracing and learning life skills. Another thing that goes into with youth self-esteem and just learning and curriculum, being ready for the real world. And I feel that you're going to be able to do that, especially with young women. I'm excited to hear more as that progresses. It's going to progress the right way because just like in your your mentorship program got the best instructor, the father, really giving you the tools for success. So it's going to be dynamic. Once again, just to recap, Jessica, you can visit her at www.friendlyatmosphere.org. You can catch her on Facebook by the same name, Friendly Atmosphere Mentoring, and Instagram at Friendly Atmosphere. Once again, my name is Shalina Tate, and my guest today has been Jessica Burton. She is mentor founder of Friendly Atmosphere Mentoring, a local mentorship program here in Columbia, South Carolina. If you want to be a part of her efforts, feel free to reach out at any of the links we just mentioned, her website, her Facebook, her Instagram, and network with her. Want to bring her to your community and her services, please reach out. I support this 100%. Just reach out to her just for your youth, because the youth are the future and they need someone that's going to take the time, someone that's loving, someone that has a heart. If that's you, reach out. All right. Well, once again, my name is Shalina Tate, and I just interviewed Jessica Burton. This is Fostered My Stories. This is a community that is focused on the positive of the foster care, the orphan, and the adoptive community. Have a great day. And there you have it. I really enjoyed speaking with Jessica and hearing her testimony on how FAM, Friendly Atmosphere Mentoring, got its start. Often our purposes, passions, and creativity can flourish just by, wanting to make a difference in our community or bring a change to a situation. So for Jessica, it was her son and his situation that propelled her to want to step up into the mentorship program that she started through FAM. That's the Family Atmosphere Mentoring. Well, I said family, but Friendly Atmosphere Mentoring. But yeah, you might as well say what it is. It's a family, FAM. And that's the acronym that's stirring for her to make a change to what she saw going on in her environment. Have you had a situation similar to Jessica? Stumbled upon a situation or circumstance that you desired want to be changed or wanted it be changed, but there wasn't really any real solutions. And if there were solutions, they may have been time consuming, or no one seemed to have patience or really the helpfulness to help you in the situation, circumstances. Well, maybe that was a nudge for you to possibly do something on your end. I would love to hear more about it. If so, you can shoot me a message over at Foster My Stories, which is on Facebook. We also have a WhatsApp link there on that page. And also, if you have an achievement testimony like Jessica, or you serve in your local community, or you may be an expert, I would love to also chat with you. You can email me at Shelena Tate, that is SHELENATATE @outlook.com. I would love to connect with you and see how we can blossom this storyline together. I guess if that's really a word, right? You can also find Foster My Story episode and update and recaps posted via the group or main page, Foster My Stories Facebook. And yes, we also have a group page as well, Foster My Stories. I would love to check it out and really read your input, your messages, your feedback on the content that has been presented so far on this episode and other episodes. If you have any ideas for episodes or would like to be a guest, special guest, community guest, or featured story, once again, you can email ShelenaTate@outlook.com and check out new episodes each Wednesday at 3 p.m. That's the new day and time, 3 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have recaps for you on Facebook by Friday. And remember, foster, adopted, and orphan means you're simply gracefully chosen. A new name to give you an expectation, a hope, or a view of being purposed, chosen, gracefully selected, preordained in whatever capacity you are currently in. You may have grown up in the foster care system like I did. You may have been adopted or was an orphan or have come from an underserved community. You're gracefully chosen because your testimony, your circumstance, those situations were only meant to make you stronger. And a lot of times it doesn't seem that way because while we're going through trials and tribulations, feel as no one understands, no one gets it, and you're all alone. But you're not. Why? Because you have your Foster My Stories community family here with you, and FAM, the friendly atmosphere mentoring that is making strides in the local community to bring changes to the atmosphere that they see. You can as well. I look forward to hanging out with you again next week at the new date and time, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd love to hear your feedback and questions and concerns. Shelena Tate@outlook.com. Take care.